What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well, safe and sound, away from all this craziness that's in our world. And today I'm going to do something that I've never done before. This is 100% first for me in my entire life. I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but I'm curious as to how this is going to go. I'm going to explain everything in a few minutes. But the whole bottom line is something I didn't really believe in before. And now I realize how important it is. And like I said, just for me to be going to do what I'm doing is a huge step. It's a huge evolution in my life. It's a huge evolution in things that I've learned about, right? And again, a little apprehensive because I'm curious as to what it's going to be like, but I'm positive that I'm doing the right thing. So let's get it on. We have a beautiful day here in Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia. Unlike the last couple days where it's been pissing down rain, it was crazy here, but we're gonna go ahead and do that thing that I've been talking about. Now, you guys have known me for a while. You can't really see anything like that. You guys have known me for a while, right? What could I possibly be getting myself into today? If you guys know the shit I've done in my past, you might be like, something Jerry hasn't done in his past? Stay tuned. Man, we rolled up and there's a huge line. I didn't think there'd be this big of a line. So we're gonna have to stand outside and wait for a little while. They don't want cameras and they don't want, well, you can have your phone, but they don't want you recording out there. There's signs and stuff saying they don't want that. So we have to cut it off here. And then when I get back, we'll do a little follow-up. And then when we get home, I'd really like to do the follow-up outside, but it's so fucking windy that there's no way. You won't be able to hear it. So we'll have to do it when we get back home. So, all right, wish me luck, guys. That building right behind me over there, that's where we're going. All right, well, that was a little bit nerve-wracking. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was pretty painless. It only took about 5 minutes. It took longer standing in line than it took to actually do what I was going to do. And what it is I did was I went and I fucking voted. Yep, for the first time in my life, in any state that I've lived in, for any reason, I voted. Now, we're going to go home and I'm going to set up the camera and we can actually talk about this rather than sitting in a fucking parking lot. But I understand now why many of you would be like, Jerry, it's your right. You got to vote. It's your American right. You have to. I get it. I get the feeling that when you place your vote, it's you feel like you're doing your part. I get that part, and today I do feel like I did my part. We'll see what happens. But, I walked in there never voting before and said, look, I'm a first time voter. Like, oh, first time voting, early. I said, no, first time voting ever. And they were like, first time voter, started fucking clapping and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, if I know it was this much fun, I would have fucking voted many years ago. But no, for real. It was an interesting experience just probably because I've never done it before. And anytime you do something new, there's always like a question of how is it going to go? What's it going to be like? But pretty painless. And yeah, let's get home so we can talk about this shit. So we don't have to do it in a car in a parking lot. All right, guys, let's talk about what just happened. Okay, so you guys know that I've never voted my entire life. So Jerry, why all of a sudden 2021 are you voting? And you didn't vote for the presidential election. You're voting for your local government where you live. Hang on. So those of you that know me, that know I don't vote, some of you know the reason why, some of you don't. And the reason why is I always put it like this, I say, testosterone is something that's in my body as a man, right? And as my body declines with age, you need to supplement that. So you need to go to a doctor, jump through hoops, etc., whatever the case may be. Now, even if I wasn't older, even if I was 20, and I wanted to take a cc or two of testosterone a week to get my body to look better, feel better, perform better, whatever, I can't do that because testosterone is dangerous, right? So it has to be prescribed for certain purposes because it's dangerous if you don't use it the right way. And then they turn right around, the same people that tell me that it's dangerous if I use it, and give it to 10-year-old girls that want to be boys now. So tell me why it's okay and it's safe to give that 10-year-old girl testosterone to block puberty, to start her transition into being a man or a boy, right? Why is it safe for them when their bodies are not even done growing, right? Their immune systems are not even done being formed. Why is it okay for them to take it, but someone like me, who should have control of their own body, it's not like you're gonna take a bottle of testosterone, shoot the whole thing and die, right? People are not gonna be dropping dead. They're gonna make decisions that over long term may affect their health, so does smoking and alcohol. And those are taxed and they're completely legal and they're completely part of our culture, right? But testosterone that might kill me 40 years later, kind of like alcoholism or lung cancer from smoking, right? I can't do that, right? I have to have somebody tell me what I can and can't do. They tell that 10-year-old girl, here's your medication, no problem. They tell the full-grown man, You can't have it, it's dangerous, you'll kill yourself with it. It's the same fucking drug. So you have people out there choosing what you do and don't get to do, and then they pass laws that keep you from doing those things. So they won't even, and don't even get me started about the abortion thing, right? The abortion thing, the same people that say stuff like, my rights, my body, etc., don't even realize that these politicians in every other aspect of your life get to tell you what to fucking do. They choose to make a law that says testosterone is illegal without a prescription. It's legal in Mexico. It's legal in other countries. The people are not fucking dropping dead. It's our government that decides what we can and can't do based on what they want. What's the reasoning for it? I don't know. But you're trying to tell me they won't let me take more testosterone and put on 10 pounds of muscle to feel better about myself, but they're going to let me pick the guy who runs a fucking country. There's no fucking way. That makes no logical fucking sense. And I think a lot of people don't look at it that way, right? They take a lot of things for face value and they just believe politicians, they believe government, despite what they see, despite what's going on around them, they just fucking roll with it. And I always said, you know what? I am not going to go up there and fucking waste my time like a fucking asshole, standing in a line, filling out a fucking ballot, putting it in the fucking thing, and then the fucking thing is rigged anyways. The people that are going to win. Look, we haven't had a good president since Reagan. Everybody has been fucked up since then, going to war and doing random shit, taxing the shit out of everything. Look, besides Trump, taxing the fuck out of everything. Like, think about what the fuck has happened to this country. You think people are voting for extra taxes? No, they're not voting for extra taxes. These fuckers have been winning because they're being put in place. These fucking elections have been rigged for a long time, and I've been saying that, not long before 2020. Since I was a teenager, I've been saying that. And then the 2020 election came along, right? And regardless of how you feel about it, there's some shady fucking shit that went on, and you can believe one thing or another, but realistically, more people are starting to see, based on the nosedive ratings that CNN and these other news stations have taken, that something did happen. There was some bullshit that went on. And I feel confident with saying that I don't feel like, and I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like the election was on the up and up. You know, I look at things like voter registration and voter ID. What the fuck? That should be a no-brainer. I can't buy a fucking beer without an ID. Well, now that I'm 45, I can, but you can't buy a beer with an ID. You can't fucking buy cigarettes without an ID to show that you're of a certain age. You need ID to get into a fucking movie sometimes, right? You're going to go to cash a check, you need a fucking ID. You always need a fucking ID, right? But to vote, which puts the most powerful person in the fucking country on the helm of that country, you don't need a fucking ID? Like, I'm looking at these things and I hear Obama say dumb shit like, they don't want to let you vote. No, you're right. If you're not a fucking citizen of this country, no, I don't want you to vote. You don't have a fucking say. You don't pay taxes like we do. So why the fuck should you have to have any say with what the fuck is going on with this country? You don't even belong here. You're here illegally. If I do something illegal, I get punished for it. You come in this fucking country illegally, they want to give you IDs and let you be able to vote. But there's no voter ID in some states. They're trying to make it so that, you know, anybody can walk in and vote off the fucking streets. Well, here in Virginia, we have voter ID. We have signature confirmation. I walked in there, they took my license. They scanned my license in this fucking machine. They checked my signature compared to my signature on the license. And then they handed it back to me and I said, well, here's something I can get down with, right? I could do a paper ballot where I fill that shit in myself. They're going to check my ID. They're going to make sure that they scan the fucking ID. They're going to check the signature. To me, that's more verifiable than half the shit that happened in the presidential election. Okay, the shit that happened in the presidential election was a fucking mess. No voter ID, no fucking signatures. The voter rolls were all fucked up. I'm looking at this thing going, there was a lot wrong with that one. But here's the deal. Throughout 2020 and 2021, one thing that I've realized is these local elections are more important than the presidential election. I know some of you may not think so, but what affects you at home in your life, it's these governors and mayors. It's them that it affects you, your bottom line. Because the president can do all kinds of dumb shit like Biden's doing right now. Make mandates this, mandates that, and the state goes, fuck you, we're not doing it. Done. That's it, right? Forever, marijuana or cannabis, whatever you want to call it, has been illegal federally. The states are like, fuck you, 38 states are legalized it. They're like, going to give a fuck. We're doing what we want. It's the state level that really is what's important. And I didn't understand that because they didn't teach me that in school. You get a quick fucking brief thing about who the presidents are and some kind of bullshit like that, what a governor does, what a mayor is, but they never teach you in school, at least they didn't teach me, the hardcore facts that voting locally and taking part in your community is what affects you locally. State by state, everything is different. Even the way people talk and their accents are different state by state. So voting in your state, especially if you have something like, you know, voter ID, voter registration, things like that, signature confirmation, not match. That stuff is what made me say, here's the deal. I'll be honest with you. We got this candidate in Virginia that wants this, that, and the other thing. We got this candidate that wants this, that, and the other thing. I think the guy that we had right now, which I believe is Northam. California has Newsom. We have Northam here, I think. Northam's been pretty fucking good. I'll be honest with you. He could have fucked things up a lot worse during this pandemic. I think he's been a fucking pretty goddamn good, to be totally honest with you. You know, I'm sitting there going, he's a Democrat. I'm just saying, I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm registered independent, right? So I decide what the fuck I want, or undecided, not independent. So you have one aspect over here, one aspect over here. And when I said, okay, what is the best thing that is not just for me? What's best for me? And I looked at it and I said, what's best for Fairfax County? And I looked at it and said, those things match up. So I'm going to vote for this person here because that person is going to do the best for me and for the county in general. Now, I had this crux because I walked this, I've never voted before. Do I vote for what's best for me, or do I vote what's best for the country? Now, or excuse me, for the county. Now, that's another crux. Like, you could say, well, if I vote for this person, it's going to be better off for all the other people out there, right? Or if I vote for this person, it's only going to be better for me. But if I vote for the other person, it's going to be better off for the entire county. So then you start going, am I going to be selfless or am I going to be selfish? That's where I've learned over the last, year and a half, that you have to vote for what is going to be best for you and your family. That's the whole idea of voting. It's not about what you think is best for everyone. It's about what you think is best for you. And that's exactly what happened with the presidential election this year. People voted for what they thought was best for them, and they fucking hated Trump. And we're in the shit show that we're in right now. So I looked at it and I said, hey, this time I'm lucky that what's best for me matches up with what's best for the county, or what I believe is best for the county. So I'm going to vote this way right here. And that really was, I didn't take this lightly, especially my first time, like not knowing what to do. I'm like, I know there's going to be a questionnaire. I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. I had no idea. But the bottom line is I went in there, I did my duty. I get it. I realized the rush that you get thinking that you're choosing who's going to run the country. Like those of you out there that went out there and voted, and we know that the election was fucked up, it's the rush that you get that keeps you coming back. Like, I make a difference, and I make a difference. Well, sometimes people say one vote makes a difference. To be honest with you, one vote doesn't make a fucking difference. I've never seen anything in my life come down to one fucking vote. But that's the thought process, and it gives you what you feel like is more power because you're choosing, and you figure, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put my vote in, and we're going to win. It's like a race, like a competition. It's like a game. It's like everything all at once, right? And it's almost like gambling because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's like all this shit all at once when you go to vote. And I think that's the issue. I think that people get so wrapped in the actual voting, they don't think ahead as to who they're voting for and how it's going to affect people down the road, a month from now, 2 months from now, even a year from now. They don't think about that. They just think about right now, this person said this. I saw a candidate who had a thing on TV that said this. I saw that, I saw this, and you have no fucking clue. I didn't see any fucking debates. I didn't see anything going on at all. The only thing I know is what I saw on TV, and I had to research shit because I only saw one side on TV all the time. There was only the Republican on TV all the fucking time here. Youngkin, I think his name is. The Democrats didn't have shit on TV. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I had to dig to see what those Democrats were into, and then dig a little more and see what the Republicans are into, and then kind of look and say, which way would I go based on what's best for me and my family right now? I would go this way. Okay, what's best for the county? This way. Okay, well, you know what? That just happens to line up this time. Fuck. I'm good. We'll figure it out next time. But I think, a lot of times, I want what's best for the county. And I think that, I try to take part in things around my town, my city, my county. I try to do, charities and things like that. I walk in the parade. We're doing a little thing in our community here for Halloween, where some of the kids, because of COVID and stuff, they still don't want to go out. We're going to do the dog parade. So there's about 20 of us that have dogs here, and we all walk them every day and every night together. We call it the pack walk. And for our little community, what we're all going to do is we're going to dress up. We're going to dress the dogs up. We're going to do 2 laps around the neighborhood so the kids can see the costumes and stuff. Batman is coming back this year. And then we're going to have a little get-together over here where our pool is, and just have like a little cookout for the neighbors, right? Be involved in the community, right? That's something I didn't used to do back in the day. It's something a little bit different now, right? I was so focused on like bodybuilding all the time that I didn't know what the fuck was going on around me. And now that I've retired from bodybuilding, I've opened up my eyes to what's going on around me in general more and more. I want to do my part, but I want to be smart about it, right? I want to do my part, but I want to do it the right way. I don't want to do it the fad way where everybody just goes, fuck Trump, I'm going to vote for Biden. And then we're in the shitter less than a year later. which is fucking unreal. So believe me, I know, I'm fully aware of how powerful votes can be if the votes are really counted. And I feel confident about Virginia right now, especially with these, the way that they have the voter check, the ID check, voter ID check. I felt confident with that when they did that. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to have done this. It's a new chapter in my life. And again, you only get results when you take action, right? I had to take action today. You can't just sit on my ass and be like everybody else and complain and bitch and moan about, oh, I hate this, I'm unsatisfied with that, blah, 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 just fucking complaining. You get nothing. People get tired of hearing you fucking complain. So in order to not be a fucking hypocrite, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do something I've never done, get out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna go fucking do this because this is another way that I can do something to make a difference, right? It may not make a huge difference, but it may make a difference. Who the fuck knows? And maybe my making a difference, honestly, maybe it's not even that vote. It could be making this video while you guys watch me go out of my comfort zone, do something I've never done before, which I didn't believe in, right? There's a lot of things nowadays I believe in that I didn't used to believe in, but evolving as an individual and starting to think critically, right? If anything else, maybe my part of changing things isn't putting that vote in. It's putting that vote in and having you guys watch it and start thinking on your own. Start thinking about what could I do? What else could I do? Who do I know? Where could I help? Could I help the polling stations? Like, whatever the case may be, when you start thinking about how you can make things better and help, your individual surroundings as well as your community, that's when real change starts. It starts at the local level, not at the president. So in order to start changing the local level, I fucking voted. It is what it is. So hopefully this video, guys, will spark something in you to try something different to make some change, because we need change. We need to fucking change this world very fucking fast. We need it as fast as we can get it right now, because the whole country's going to the shitter. So get out there, do your due diligence, make sure you study all the candidates, what they're really about before you cast your vote. Think about what's going to be best for you, what's best for your county, your town, your city, whatever the case may be. Go out there and cast your vote, right? And if you don't have voter ID, push for it. Push your legislators to get voter ID. There's nothing wrong with voter ID. It's not fucking racist. It's not fascist. That's fucking bullshit. That's virtue signaling bullshit from people that want to fucking cheat. I'm saying it. I'm tired of the bullshit. If you need a fucking ID to get a rental car, if you need an ID to get to a movie, to buy alcohol, to fucking, to get, all the things you need an ID for, right? To get a credit card. Sometimes, well, they don't do that anymore, but you used to have an ID with your credit card. Sometimes they ask you for an ID when you use your credit card in certain stores still. You have to have an ID for all these things, but you don't need an ID to vote, to choose who's going to run the fucking place. Think about it. BiosTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BiosTraining.com is a blog. It's I Voted Bicep, and we are out. All right, well, that was a little bit nerve-wracking. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was pretty painless. It only took about 5 minutes. It took longer standing in line than it took to actually do what I was going to do. And what it is I did was I went and I fucking voted. Yep, for the first time in my life, in any state that I've lived in, for any reason, I voted. Now, we're going to go home and I'm going to set up the camera and we can actually talk about this rather than sitting in a fucking parking lot. But I understand now why many of you would be like, Jerry, it's your right. You got to vote. It's your American right. You have to. I get it. I get the feeling that when you place your vote, it's you feel like you're doing your part. I get that part, and today I do feel like I did my part. We'll see what happens. But, I walked in there never voting before and said, look, I'm a first-time voter. Like, oh, first-time voting. Earlier I said, no, first-time voting ever. And they were like, first-time voter. Started fucking clapping and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, if I know it was this much fun, I would have fucking voted many years ago. But no, for real. It was an interesting experience just probably because I've never done it before. And anytime you do something new, there's always like a question of how is it going to go? What's it going to be like? But pretty painless. And, yeah, let's get home so we can talk about this shit. So we don't have to do it in a car in a parking lot.